Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. After the Burns-Menon's meetings, where does the Indo-US nuclear deal stand? That's one of the issues I shall explore today with the Foreign Minister, Pranab Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, you've already said that the Indo-US nuclear deal hasn't hit a roadblock. But are you disappointed with the outcome of the Menon-Burns talks?
You know, this is a negotiation which is going on for quite some time. There are certain issues which are yet to be resolved. So there is no question of disappointment. We are engaged in negotiation.
All right, let's look at some of the issues which, as you say, still need to be resolved and start with the question of reprocessing. Nothing in US law and nothing in the Hyde Act prohibits America granting India reprocessing rights. So what explanation have they given you for their reluctance to give us these rights?
Look, it is not possible for us to explain in details that what stands. We can only explain what is our expectation and to what extent we can go. Reprocessing is absolutely necessary for us because we do not want to have a situation like the repetition of Tarapur.
Quite right. And have they explained why they are reluctant?
They say that they have some problems, and we said that you do not transfer your problems to us. What has been agreed in the joint statement of July 2005 and subsequently in March 2006, and what is our commitment to Parliament, you are already aware of it. Therefore, within these two parameters, this 1, 2, 3 agreement is to be signed.
When Mr. Burns was here last week, did you point out to him that at his press conference in Hyderabad House in March the 2nd, 2006, George Bush, as good as, committed himself to giving India reprocessing rights? He said, and I quote, "I don't see how you can advocate nuclear power without advocating technological development of reprocessing."
That's why I am saying that it is for them to decide and to argue and carry on conviction to their people if they have any difficulties. What we required, we made it quite clear to them.
Now, America has granted reprocessing rights to 3 countries. It's given it in the past to Switzerland, to Japan, and to Euratom. Would India be satisfied with reprocessing rights on the same terms and conditions?
First of all, we will be satisfied only, we will have to examine it in the context of our commitment to Indian Parliament in the joint statement of July 2005 and the separation plan of 2006.
People say that there are 2 steps that India could consider taking, which these 3 countries which I've just named have already taken, which would encourage America. They say that were you to identify the reprocessing plant where the reprocessing will happen, and were you to be more amenable and acceptable to fallback safeguards, this would encourage America. Are you prepared to take these steps?
Look, there are certain issues which we shall have to keep in mind. For instance, India is a non-signatory to NPT. The other countries which you have referred to, all of them are signatories to NPT. Therefore, this arrangement will have to be India specific.
So just because these 3 countries have taken certain steps, India can't necessarily follow the same way?
India can follow what has been stated, as I mentioned in those 2 statements, and what is our commitment to Indian Parliament.
Another way that in fact reprocessing rights could be granted to India was if America were to adopt what it did with China. In the case of the 123 agreement with China, America has committed itself to expeditiously and favorably considering any Chinese request for reprocessing within a limited time frame of just 6 months. And if no decision is possible in that 6-month period, then China automatically gets an interim right to reprocess. Would that be acceptable?
I am sorry, Karan, you are making comparison between the non-comparables. China is already a declared nuclear weapon state. I have already stated that it will have to be India specific in the context as India is a non-signatory to NPT.
If none of the earlier examples or precedents are applicable to us, as you point out, doesn't that make the granting of reprocessing more difficult?
I don't think it would be more difficult. We will be able to find some way out, though the negotiations are protracted. But in a complicated negotiations like this, sometimes it happens. Both countries are trying their best. I do not doubt their sincerity. Similarly, we would also like to have it, because the process began from July 2005 when Prime Minister visited.
Do you think that if both countries try their best, the outcome will be satisfactory to India, or is there a danger that the best may not be good enough?
No, that is your value judgment. I am not entering into any value judgment at this juncture. Let me first reach the bridge, then I will think what to do next.
Very interesting. You're not wanting to express confidence. You're leaving open the possibility that on reprocessing, you might not get what would be satisfactory for India.
No, I am saying that what will satisfy me, those parameters are well laid, those are in the knowledge of the public domain.
Quite right, but will America accept?
If it meets my requirement in the context of those documents, I will be satisfied.
A second sticking point, according to the press, is the issue of what America calls right to return. Now, on that question of right to return, is India looking for an exemption from that law, or is India looking for a way of cushioning the impact of the law so that it doesn't have a deleterious, hurtful or harmful impact on India's interest? Which is it that you're looking for?
No, we would not like to have any impact on our indigenous nuclear program, and also we would not like to affect our strategic program to maintain the reserves for our strategic program.
Very specifically on this question of right to return, I imagine your prime interest is to ensure that any strategic reserves of fuel which you build up are not covered by the right to return. But can America exempt India's strategic reserves without making a mockery of its own law of right of return?
But what would be India specific? Otherwise, where is the question comes about the India specific? It is known to everybody that India is not signatory to NPT. India has its strategic programs.
And therefore, you're saying that anything that's India specific must take into consideration the fact that we have certain demands that are different to that of other countries, and they must be met and catered.
Exactly, because we are not, we would like to continue our existing positions in respect of the other things.
How confident are you that at the end of this whole series of negotiations, you will have a satisfactory 1, 2, 3, which India can accept and sign?
Unless it meets our requirement, it will be difficult for us to accept any proposition.
But are you optimistic or pessimistic about it?
I am hopeful.
Only hopeful. So you're deliberately...
As the way you want to interpret, I am hopeful that everything will fall in line.
But hopeful is not a very positive word. It's a fairly neutral word.
I do not know whether it is a positive word. I am not a great linguist, so let us leave it to the linguists.
If for some reason, after 2 years of negotiating, the Indo-US nuclear deal falls through, how much of a setback will it be to India-US relations?
No, I don't think that it will have any adverse impact on India-US relationship, because India-US relationship is growing. These developments have taken place from the July 2005. This is an important landmark in our bilateral relations, no doubt, but we do hope, as I mentioned, that we will be able to reach the successful conclusions of the present series of negotiations. Therefore, I am not looking at that at all.
But you're also saying that if you don't reach a hopeful or a satisfactory conclusion, it won't have a major impact on the relationship. The relationship can continue.
It should not have.
It should not have. Should not means also hopefully it won't have.
Again, you are just trying to twist with the words. What are the fun in it?
All right. Let's leave this particular subject there. I want to come back and raise with you domestic issues. Will you be a little bit more forthcoming on those, or will you once again smile inside?
No, what domestic issues you first tell me.
We'll be back in a moment's time. See you after the break. Welcome back to Devil's Advocate and an interview with the Foreign Minister, Pranab Mukherjee. Mr. Mukherjee, let's come to your relationship with your left allies. 3 of the 4 left parties have indicated that they either want to review or perhaps even reconsider support to the UPA government. And A.B. Bardhan of the CPI has gone on record to say that he will strenuously push for this when the left parties meet after the presidential election. So how long can you continue to rely on their support?
As long as we enjoy their support, it will continue.
But how long will it continue?
It will continue till the end of the term.
Well, that's what you say, but you see, at the moment, the only reason why the three parties, the CPI, the RSP, and the Forward Bloc, are not withdrawing support is because the CPM is putting pressure on them. But now, the CPM itself is wavering. Let me quote to you how the CPM last week assessed 3 years of your government. They say the UPA was formed primarily to keep communal forces away from state power. However, UPA policies are benefiting the very same communal combine. And then they add, unless this situation is immediately corrected, the very raison d'etre of the UPA comes under a question mark. Clearly, even for the CPM, the clock is ticking against you.
I am not worried over these. These are their various political parties make assessment of the current situations, and sometimes they criticize the economic policies, sometimes they criticize that failure of the government to contain the communal forces, and that is the reason why they are outside the government.
Are you saying that these criticisms are just hot air and no more?
No, I am just saying that it is their assessment, but so long they will continue to support the government will go.
But the question is how long? Because you see, it's not just the UPA.
I have given you the answer that till the end of the term of this government.
But I'm asking you on what basis you can sound so confident, because it's not just the UPA that they're disenchanted
because
with.
I am
they're
dealing with them every
criticizing
day.
the Prime Minister.
I am dealing with them every day. That's why I am confident.
But
And therefore, therefore, even why they are talking of the presidential election, because they know that in the presidential election, they will have to oppose the NDA supported or NDA candidate.
But I'm talking about what happens afterwards. Bardhan has gone on record to say, this time I mean it, it's not just a threat. Manoj Bhattacharjee of the RSP, it's time we think of an alternative.
I think you leave that worry to me, not to your viewers or your audience. Let me manage that. That is my job. Don't take my job and just create panic amongst your viewers.
So you're supremely confident that despite the rhetoric, there is no danger of the left withdrawing support.
I am again telling you, I do not believe this type of superlative adjectives. I am quite confident that UPA government will continue with the support of the left till the end of the term.
What about the UPA Left Coordination Committee? It hasn't met since October. Almost 8 or 9 months have passed, and A.B. Bardhan has gone on record to question whether it's functioning. He says one reason why he doesn't even want to attend its meetings because he's not prepared to hear Chidambaram lecturing.
No, UPA Coordination Committee met several times as and when it is needed.
Not since October, November?
I don't think whether it has met after October or not, but I think during the sessions, budget sessions after October, there had been 2 sessions. And we had meeting. There are 2 types of coordination. One coordination meeting is taken by me. When the parliament is in session, it meets almost every week.
So you're saying the system is working?
It meets almost every week.
Bardhan says it's not working. He's gone on record.
That's all right. What is on record, you keep your records and you'll be satisfied with your records. But so far I am concerned, as leader of the Lok Sabha, I am quite happy and satisfied with the coordination which I am having with the left.
But this is one-sided satisfaction. You're satisfied, Bardhan isn't satisfied, Abani Roy isn't satisfied, Manoj Bhattacharjee isn't satisfied. What sort of satisfaction is this?
That is for me to decide, not you.
But you don't seem to be very concerned about your allies and their feelings and their sensitivities.
I have no problem with that, because with that I am carrying on the government, I am carrying on the legislative business in the house.
But don't you see the message you're sending out to the audience that you don't care about left criticism, you don't care about their sensitivities? If you're satisfied, you're saying to me, that's good enough.
No, because I deal with them every day. I do not go what they say to the media.
So are they two-faced? Are they saying different things to the media and different things to you?
What they discuss.
But are they two-faced? Are they saying different things to the media and different things to you?
No, not at all. When the issues come, media, they are giving their general impression, they are analyzing the situations. But when the individual issues on which their consent, their affirmation is needed, that is for me to decide, and we get that.
2 very quick critical questions. If at the end you do achieve a satisfactory 1, 2, 3 with the United States on the Indo-US nuclear deal, Can you get the left to support it? Because on that issue, even Prakash Karat and the CPM have publicly said they don't even want you to negotiate the 1, 2, 3.
That is totally a hypothetical question,
Of
and
course.
I don't think that is totally a hypothetical question. You have started by saying if.
Yeah, but politics
Therefore,
is hypothesis most of the
no,
time. What's wrong
politics
with
is
it?
not hypothetical. Therefore, this question does not arise at all, and I am not going to
It doesn't
respond to
arise,
it.
or you don't want to face it?
No,
as
I
yet?
don't want to respond to it at all, because you are trying to bring, when you said that you have stopped that part, and cleverly you are trying to bring it. That's why I am not responding
I'm only
it at
pointing
all.
out a danger on the road with your left allies. You don't
Because
want
this
to
is
see
not
it.
the danger of the road. In respect of the foreign policy, they have a particular view, and it is not unknown to us.
Can I quote to you an English phrase? They say there is none so blind who willfully will not see. Are you refusing to see
I am
the
not
dangers?
aware of that phrase, so let me plead my ignorance.
But are you
And let
refusing
us
to
come
see the
to
dangers?
let us come to the task. If you want to know anything more, please put the question.
All right, let's come to the presidential election. How confident are you that the UPA candidate, whoever he or she may be, can win if the opponent is Bhairon Singh Shekhawat?
Arithmetic is clearly in favor of the UPA and its supporters.
So UPA will win.
Of course.
Bhairon Singh Shekhawat is not someone that worries or frightens you.
As I told you, that I go by arithmetic, I go by facts. I don't go by psychosis, or I don't go by psychological
What about
fear.
Mr. Shekhawat's capacity to win support from all different parties, which he showed as vice president? He could eat into your support.
Test of a eating is in test of a pudding is in eating. We are going to face the election. If he wants to contest, and if he contests, the results will be known.
In other words, you're going to wait till the last moment to discover whether in fact he defeats you or not.
No, I am not going to discover nothing at the last moment, because I told you clearly arithmetic is in favor of UPA and its supporters.
Has Mayawati assured the UPA that she will support your candidate, or does it depend upon who the candidate is?
I am not going to disclose these things before the discussion is over, and therefore please excuse me for that.
But are you
What
not
transpires
disclosing it
between-
because she hasn't given the assurance
What
you want?
transpires between the political leaders, unless it is publicly announced, there is no reason for me to disclose it in a television interview with you.
Sitaram Yechuri has said that if the UPA fails to get its candidate for president elected, the UPA will lose the moral authority to continue in government.
First of all, I am not thinking of losing at all. And this is also again a highly hypothetical question.
All dangers
If
are
we
hypothetical.
lose-
All dangers are hypothetical. You know that.
If we lose at all, then the question will come.
Not till then.
Not till then.
My final question to you. I promised you at the beginning of this interview I wouldn't bring up the question of a candidature. I am not going to break that promise. But since all the papers say that you are vital to this government and that without you this government would not be able to survive, do you not think it's fitting and fair that you should be made Deputy Prime Minister?
There is all these things are totally irrelevant, because who will be made Deputy Prime Minister or who will be made ministers of which ministry totally depends on the political establishment which runs the government. That is Prime Minister, President of the ruling party. No individual other than these two are concerned here.
That's a very clear answer. Those who understand politics will understand the answer. Mr. Mukherjee, a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.